Welcome to the Vida Spiritual Connection from Vida Spiritual Learning Center, where you are empowered to create the life you desire. Our guiding belief is by valuing and empowering all, we inspire a joyous and fulfilling life. At Vida, we study and practice the teachings of the science of mind and spirit founded by Dr. Ernest Holmes. Each week, we present an inspiring spiritual message, a guided meditation, and time together via Zoom for fellowship and prayer with a practitioner. Now, here is today's message.
Hello again, and welcome to Vida Spiritual Connection. I'm Sunshine Daye, and it is a joy to bring you today's inspirational message for this week. I'm so happy that you're tuning in and so happy that you are using our weekly inspirational message as a source of renewal and as a source of inspiration for your life. This year we've been looking at the theme, A Living Everyday Wonder, and today we get to talk about a topic called a home. And as we are looking at the topic called home, today I'm going to talk about there's no place like home. And of course, that always sounds like the good old play and movie from The Wizard of Oz, the famous line that Dorothy says when she finally returns home, and she says there's no place like home, right? And even when she's clicking her heels, she's saying there's no place like home, there's no place like home. And so what I'd love to talk a little bit about today is that idea of home, and that there is no place like home. And when I talk about home, for some of us, home might be that place of joy. It might be that place of our childhood that we remember where we had fun with our best friends. And for some of us, sadly and also richly, it is that place of turmoil, of turbulence, of trauma, of injury. And I say richly, and I don't mean it facetiously, but I mean that as a result of sometimes some of that trauma, we are forced to leave home. We are forced to seek something different. And that's really what today's talk is about. Today's talk is really about this place that is no place like home, that is not necessarily brick and mortar, wooden, a shack, that is not a physical space, that is indeed that place that is home right where you are, right here, right within you. Now, it's interesting to have that place that we say right here, and to call that home, because so many of us have run from getting to know ourselves. And in that spot of running from getting to know ourselves, we have been forced to actually run back to this indwelling power and presence that is home, that is the dwelling place of the Most High. And when I say that it is the dwelling place of the Most High because it is the dwelling place of your higher self, of that infinite intelligence, of that essence, that spirit, that power, that presence, that infinite intelligence that is living you. Now, I say this, and I don't mean to be morbid when I say this, but the thing that separates you and I from a corpse is life. Is the spark of life, is that prana, is that essence, is that I am. It is life itself, and life is also a term for God. So whether you use the word God or not, there's no place like life. There's no place like home. There's no place like the dwelling place of life. And the dwelling place of life is right where we are. I like to cut straight to the chase with my inspirational messages on a weekly basis, because why prolong it? Why stretch it out? Here's the deal, and here's a quote. Nothing can be nearer to you than that which is the very essence of your being. Your outward search culminates in the greatest of all discoveries, finding God, finding life at the center of your own being. It's the very essence of your life. And too many times, we are told to go to the mountaintop. We're told to go out and search and find ourselves and do all these things to find ourselves somewhere out there, when really what it takes is just looking within. There's this joke that I tell and that I heard many, many years ago, and it's not like correct, but there was a joke that God was hanging out with the angels, and God said to the angels, hey, I want to hide somewhere where humans will not find me. And one of the angels said, well, hide inside. They'll never look there. Ouch. Imagine not looking within for source. That it has always been right where you are. That power, that presence, that infinite intelligence is already right where you are. And too many times, just like in the movies, just like Dorothy, she goes out to we're off to see the wizard, we're off to see the wizard. And we're off to some strange land and some far off land to find the answer. And the answer was always within. And we don't seek to go within, right? It happens in Star Wars. It happens in Harry Potter. It happens in all of, the hero's journey, right? This is really what it's all about, is this discovery that it is right where we are. So I want to talk a little bit about spiritual practice, a spiritual practice that will help us to get there. Now, I post these every time I talk, for the most part, and that we have a daily spiritual practice of meditation, prayer, which is affirmative prayer, which is what we call spiritual mind treatment, spiritual reading and study, journaling and visioning. But I want to focus today on meditation. And I also want to focus a little bit on visioning. And the reason I want to focus on those two is because meditation is simply becoming quiet and still enough. It is not about having no thoughts at all, but it is about streamlining the thoughts. It is about allowing yourself to empty out from thoughts and maybe just have one thought. It could be counting from 50 to 1. It could be bringing your attention to the breath. It could be saying a phrase over and over again. But what it does is it helps to put at bay all the other thoughts, so that instead of your thoughts controlling you, you are the master of your ship. You are the one controlling your mind, and your mind is not controlling you. The purpose of meditation is to allow those thoughts to dissipate so that you might be inspired, that you might hear that still small voice, which is the I am presence within you, so that you might be at home in simply being. Imagine that just for a few minutes we can simply be, where we're not on, where we don't have to perform, where we don't have to people please, where we don't have to do things to please other people, where we can just simply be. And we can listen with the internal ears for the still small voice to speak to us in a language that we understand. This practice of meditation, this practice of being still and being silent, this practice of quieting down the mind is a practice that helps us to be at home right where we are. That we don't have to go out. We don't have to be at a temple. We don't have to be anywhere else other than anywhere we are, and just simply turn within to feel the comfort and the presence of home. Now remember, earlier I started out with sometimes home being a place that we loved as a kid, or maybe that was, riddled with lots of problems. And that's why that practice of meditation and being in meditation and quieting down the mind and having right here, because this is the only house you ever carry with you. Hello? It is the only home that is always with you everywhere you go. It is that opportunity of trusting and developing trust to that infinite intelligence that is your GPS, that is your guide. And when we allow ourselves to be still and be silent and to trust, it is then when we can actually also begin to enter this visioning process. Now, visioning process is simply being able to be so quiet and so still and so silent and just simply being, where we tap in and connect consciously to that great I am presence, that life essence, that power and presence that enlivens us, that activates this body. It is that infinite intelligence that then we can ask, what is mine to do today? What is for the highest and the best? Who am I to speak to? What am I to say? What is mine to do? Show me the way. Allow me to see and hear and speak to those whom I need to see and hear and speak with in order to fulfill my day. And see, it is then that we have this opportunity by doing that we have an opportunity to do what Campbell spoke about. He said that you must be willing to let go of the life you planned so as to have the life that is waiting for you. Right? Because so many times I have all these plans, I think they're great plans, but when I actually begin to meditate and vision on a regular basis and listen to that still small voice that speaks to me in a language that I understand, I can let go of the life that I planned and allow this internal GPS to guide me and to be my guide. What's most interesting as well is that Joseph Campbell says, follow your bliss and the universe will open doors for you where there were only walls. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasures you seek. See, so many times we don't do the impress of our hearts. We are not actively doing what it is that we are here to do and to be because we're so riddled with fear. But by the mere act of being at home, right where I am, right within me, it is then and only then that I can enter that cave of fear, recognizing that I walk with life and that I am fulfilling all of what life has to offer me by simply listening to that still small voice. And lastly, I simply want to quote from George Moore. He's an Irish novelist, and he says, people travel the world over in search of what they need and return home to find it. And so, beloveds, it is I want to say hope, but I trust that this week you will engage in a meditation and or visioning practice. And if you need help with that, please reach out to me and reach out to us at Vida Spiritual Learning Center. We would love to teach you how to vision. We would love to teach you how to meditate. We would love to guide you and be your spiritual guides in this process called life of making home. Having that be the safest place that you could ever be. And so I'm going to speak a word of prayer so that this week we are inspired to live our best life from the indwelling guidance, because truly, truly, there is no place like home. How grateful I am in this moment to simply speak the word, to simply know there's one power, one presence, one life, one love, one universal presence. I call it life, I call it love, and some call it God. Whatever it is that we call it, it matters not. What matters is that we call upon it, that we bring our awareness and our consciousness to this power and presence that has created everything out of itself. That it is love, that it is joy, that it is peace, that it is power, that it is abundance, that it is balance and clarity and divine creativity and divine order. I know this life to be my life now. It created me out of itself. Therefore, that which is true of God, that which is true of life is true for me. That I am the abundance that I seek, that it is right here at home, right here, not in the physical three-dimensional place where I dwell, but internally, that my home is the dwelling place of the Most High. And to the degree in which I recognize that it is indeed my life, that I am one with it, that it is one with me, I recognize that there's no thing that can separate my life from the life of life itself, from the life of God, from the life of abundance and peace and power and prosperity and abundance and clarity and joy. It is who I am. And so I return home regularly. The moment that I seek something outside of myself, I return right here where I am. I return here and recognize that the joy that I'm seeking outside of myself is already here. That the comfort that I'm seeking outside of myself is already here. That the abundance that I'm seeking outside of myself is already here, right where I am. And that to the degree in which I connect with that consciously until I just relax in it until I know that it is my life. It is in that degree that I actually am free. And so I experience love and freedom and comfort this week. I experience the joy of my life this week. That irrespective of what is happening outside of me, irrespective of the weather or the news report, that as I return home to the dwelling place of the Most High, which is indwelling, which is that indwelling presence and power that livens me. I am home. I am home. There is no place like home. I return here on a regular basis. I stay here. I live from here. I see life from this place. And so I give thanks that this is my truth, and I give thanks that this is a truth for each and every one of us, that each and every one of us has this dwelling place that is home, and that we return home. So because I pray believing that it is done, I give thanks for answered prayer. I give thanks that this is the truth for each and every one of us. And I release this word into the activity of the law, knowing that it is done in the mind of God, just as it is done right here at home with me. I release this word now. I let it be. It is so. And so it is. And now it is. And I rejoice. I rejoice in that. And I let it be. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I look forward to seeing you next week for another weekly inspirational message of Vida Spiritual Connection. Mwah. Bye for now.
Did you know that giving is a spiritual practice that keeps you in the abundant flow of life? If today's message inspires you, consider supporting Vida Spiritual Learning Center. Know that your financial contributions support this show, our learning center, and the Science of Mind philosophy. Thank you for your contribution. Now it's time for meditation.
Welcome to our time of meditation. Writing in the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes wrote, "We must consciously know that we can use creative power. The more complete such acceptance on our part, the more completely we shall be able to use this power for definite purposes." In our time together in this meditation, we focus on creativity and harnessing the creative power found in the joy of doing what we love, and realizing that in doing so, it is the fulfillment of spirit, expressing through and as each of us. So let us breathe into this time and begin by relaxing and just allowing any busyness of the day to just gently fall away, bringing our attention to the here and now. Yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not come. Our focus is right here and right now. And as we focus on our breathing, let's take several deep breaths together, breathing in all the way and holding for just a moment, and then breathing out completely. Let's do that again, breathing in all the way and holding for a moment, and then breathing out completely. And as we settle into that, just allow your breathing now to just find its own natural rhythm. And as you breathe in and breathe out, on each out breath, release more of whatever tension you may be holding, allowing yourself just to fall deeper and deeper into that creative now within. Just breathing in and breathing out, and allow yourself to just be in that space. And I am reminded that in the opening to his weekly radio show, Ernest Holmes always began by saying, "There is a power for good in the universe, and you can use it." And as students of science of mind, we know that our thoughts and imagination are the beginnings of change. The more vivid the mental picture we imagine, the more power we give to the creative process. So I'm going to offer several questions for you to consider. And as best you can, open your thinking to consider whatever comes up without filtering based on any current circumstances. We know there is no limit to what spirit can create. So don't let us limit our imagination. So here goes. So what do you love to do more than anything else? What do you love to do more than anything else? It may be something that causes you to lose track of time. Some people would call this being in the flow. It might be something that makes you just feel at home in your own skin, something that just gives you that peace of being. And it may be something that just really makes your heart sing. So let's consider these for a few moments and let your answers just emerge. Let them come into consciousness gently, contemplating what they may mean for you and how you feel when you experience them. Contemplate your divine nature as being essential to the universe. You have a spiritual DNA that is unique to you and will never be repeated. What is it that you love to do? And as we begin to come back into this time and place, just know that when we know what we love, what we care about, what we are drawn to, it creates a sacred self-awareness. And when we have that, we realize that our purpose is to create from the joy of our hearts. It's the fulfillment of spirit, expressing through and as each of us. All creation starts with yes, and the yes we offer to being different, inexperienced, even innocent, opens us up to ways of being that are unfamiliar, and yet they're fulfilled with potential for greater aliveness and discovery. So as we bring ourselves back into this time and in this space, we long to feel alive and awake, energized and uplifted. So I invite you to step out of your comfort zone and step into your authentic spirituality. Dare to tell Spirit the truth of your life so that you can begin to tell the creative truth of your life. Be bold. Dare to be and to show up as the creative expression that you already are. Your dreams are waiting for you to come true. Maybe it's time. And so it is.
Thanks for tuning in to the Vida Spiritual Connection. Please visit our website where you can submit a confidential prayer request. While there, sign up for our weekly email and receive the latest information for Vida events, classes, and meetups. Be sure to subscribe to Vida's YouTube channel, click like, and click the bell to get notifications. You can also find Vida on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We gather for fellowship and prayer with a practitioner via Zoom Thursdays at 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit Vida's website for the Zoom link. It is written, "Where your treasure is, there your heart shall be also." Giving is a spiritual practice. As you bless the world, you are blessed. Your financial contribution to Vida Spiritual Learning Center is an investment in your spiritual education and growth. Your contributions support your spiritual growth and this show, so it's a win-win. Use the link on our website, drop a check in the mail, or Zelle your contribution to 562-928-6460. Thank you for your generous support. Have a wonderful week. See you next time for the Vida Spiritual Connection.